They say the higher you go, the mightier you fall. Which means every time a company wants to shock the world by building the biggest or tallest buildings, there's always the looming risk of failure. So, tag along as I explore some of the most useless megaprojects in the world. Number 7. The International Space Station. A floating lab in empty space, the ISS is pretty much the ultimate hotspot for space-dwelling astronauts. Launched in 1998, the ISS carries out extensive scientific research on the environment in space, hoping to unlock the unknown secrets of the vast universe. But hey, according to critics, the cost of running the ISS could rival the cost of building a whole new planet. Crazy, right? With those stats in hand, we are left wondering if returns in knowledge will ever match the titanic levels of investment governments are putting into it. Remember, as the most expensive single item ever made, built for a whopping $150 billion, it seems worth asking if this space machine is delivering enough science for that insane amount of cash. What do you think? Will this training ground for space journeys ultimately pay off? Let us know in a comment below. Number 6. The Palm Islands, Dubai. When it comes to Dubai, going overboard is pretty much the norm. I mean, look at the Palm Islands, a series of fascinating artificial islands, taking the Emirati coastline to a whole new level of lush and posh. But hey, don't get too excited, as critics seem to have some serious concerns about this one too. Thanks to rising sea levels, the Palm Islands, which are built atop loose sand, might face an existential threat in years to come. From the financial burden of sustaining handmade tropical treats to the high environmental cost incurred by local ecosystems, what is the price we are ready to pay? Number 5. Forest City, Malaysia. Probably the most dubious China-funded project in the world, Malaysia's so-called Forest City is one of the biggest ghost towns in the world. A $100 billion affair, the ghost city has all the concrete miracles you want. But hey, guess what's missing? That's right, pretty much any signs of life. With less than 5% of its expected population, the Forest City is like a scene from a post-apocalyptic world. But how could such a big project go so terribly wrong? Billed as one of China's largest overseas investments, the Ghost City has pretty much failed to attract any of the buzz it promised. With cracks in many buildings and whole sections of roads sunk into ground, this place is a realtor's nightmare. Not surprisingly, property prices in the Forest City are way too high for locals, while foreigners see it as a bad investment, and we can definitely see why. Deserted roads, empty malls, and tarnished pillars are the only standard view you find. Number 4. The London Garden Bridge. A suspended green garden soaring above the River Thames, the London Garden Bridge is probably one of the coolest London projects we know. But just like all great things that coulda, woulda, shoulda, the Garden Bridge never came to pass. Designed by Thomas Heatherwick for a whopping $260 million, the bridge was expected to incorporate a 2,500 square meter area studded with trees and plants across the stretch of the deck. Sadly, the high project costs and a large environmental footprint got in the way. Thanks to the massive public backlash over pedestrian safety, the project was eventually shut down before breaking ground. Number 3. The Three Gorges Dam, China. Lo and behold, what is greater than you? Looming over the Yangtze River in China, the mighty Three Gorges Dam is one of the biggest hydropower plants in the world. And even though the promise of sheer size and high energy capacity had us all impressed, it seems this is still one of the most controversial concrete works in the country, with many arguing the dam has led to the unnecessary displacement of communities, huge environmental damage, and an increased risk of natural disasters. On the other side, supporters are quick to point to pros. From advancing the use of renewable power to creating a means of flood control, the dam could play a key role in protecting downstream areas from devastating floods. But at what cost? Displacing more than 1 million people and wiping out more than 1,000 conservation sites, it's hard to say if this trade-off between the eco and the economy is worth it in the long run. Number 2. The Ryugyong Hotel, North Korea. No matter who you are, you should always dream big. But hey, even the most ambitious dreams come with limits and bounds. At 330 meters tall, the concrete monster in North Korea is often touted as the biggest development fail in the world. An unfinished pyramid sprawling over more than 100 floors. Did you know this high-rise building in the country's capital was once hyped to be the country's ultimate symbol of pride? But life sure had other plans, and ever since 1987, the Ryugyong Hotel is simply the tallest empty building in Pyongyang, bumming itself the rather morbid and rather unflattering title of Asia's ultimate hotel of doom. Number 1. The Brasília National Stadium, Estádio Nacional Mané Garrincha, Brazil. Specially built for the 2014 FIFA Cup, this massive stadium in Brazil has seen some highs and lows. The second largest arena in Brazil, with a capacity to hold more than 70,000 people, did you know it is also the biggest World Cup stadium ever built? Naturally, with construction costing far more than early estimates, this colossal megaproject was seen as a nightmare by tax-paying citizens around the country, costing the Brazilian government a staggering $500 million. Did you know this stadium is now being used as a parking lot for buses? Crazy, right? From habitat loss and the stadium's massive carbon legacy to the simple fact that ever since its 30 seconds of fame during the FIFA Cup, the stadium has never actually been used. The Brasília National Stadium has sure taken a toll on the country's developing economy. As we mull over these mega fails, it is important to ask, how can we strike the right balance between ambition and reality? And what lessons will make for better and more informed development choices in the future?